1. Extensively debated, widely discussed and argued about, often with differing opinions and perspectives. The impact of social media on mental health has been extensively debated by psychologists and researchers worldwide. The benefits and drawbacks of nuclear energy remain extensively debated among policymakers and environmentalists. The issue of income inequality is extensively debated, with economists proposing various solutions to bridge the gap. 2. Overwhelmingly endorsed, strongly supported or approved by a majority. The proposal to reduce carbon emissions was overwhelmingly endorsed by scientists worldwide. Online learning has been overwhelmingly endorsed as an effective alternative to traditional education. The decision to increase funding for healthcare was overwhelmingly endorsed by policymakers. 3. Fiercely debated, a topic that is intensely argued over, often involving strong opinions and opposing viewpoints. The impact of globalization on cultural identity remains fiercely debated, as some view it as a threat to local traditions while others see it as a bridge to global unity. The necessity of standardized testing in education is fiercely debated, with critics arguing it stifles creativity while proponents emphasize its role in maintaining academic benchmarks. Government policies on climate change are fiercely debated as nations struggle to balance economic growth with environmental sustainability. 4. Widely disputed, a topic that is broadly questioned or challenged, often with strong disagreements and contrasting perspectives. The effectiveness of economic sanctions as a tool for international diplomacy remains widely disputed, as experts argue over their long-term consequences. The validity of animal testing in scientific research is widely disputed, with advocates emphasizing medical advancements while critics highlight ethical concerns. The impact of excessive screen time on cognitive development is widely disputed, as researchers present conflicting findings on its effects on attention and learning. 5. Widely condemned, a topic or action that is universally criticized or rejected by a large majority, often due to ethical, legal, or moral concerns. The exploitation of child labor in certain industries has been widely condemned, prompting governments to implement stricter regulations to protect vulnerable workers. The destruction of natural habitats for commercial gain is widely condemned by environmental activists, who argue that long-term ecological damage far outweighs economic benefits. The lack of accountability among corporate leaders involved in financial scandals has been widely condemned, with calls for more transparent governance and ethical business practices. 6. Universally opposed, a concept or action that is widely rejected or disapproved of by almost all people, often due to ethical, legal, or social concerns. The practice of deforestation for commercial purposes is universally opposed, as it leads to severe environmental degradation and loss of biodiversity. The use of child labor in manufacturing industries is universally opposed, with governments and advocacy groups enforcing stringent laws to protect minors. The exploitation of workers through unfair wages and poor working conditions is universally opposed, as societies strive to uphold fundamental human rights. 7. Politically divisive, a topic or issue that creates strong disagreements among different political groups or ideologies, often leading to deep societal polarization. The debate over immigration policies remains politically divisive, with proponents arguing for economic benefits while critics emphasize national security concerns. The issue of healthcare funding is politically divisive as governments struggle to balance universal access with financial sustainability. Climate change regulations continue to be politically divisive, with policymakers debating the trade-off between economic growth and environmental responsibility. 8. Increasingly controversial. A topic or issue that has become more debated and contentious over time, often due to evolving perspectives, ethical concerns, or social impact. The rise of artificial intelligence in the workplace is increasingly controversial, as many fear it will lead to mass unemployment while others argue it enhances productivity. The use of genetically modified organisms, GMOs, in agriculture remains increasingly controversial, with proponents highlighting food security benefits while critics warn of environmental and health risks. Government surveillance in the name of national security is becoming increasingly controversial as citizens grapple with the delicate balance between safety and personal privacy. 9. Persistently critical. A stance or perspective that consistently expresses strong disapproval or skepticism towards an issue, policy, or trend over time. Many experts remain persistently critical of the overuse of fossil fuels, arguing that governments fail to implement effective sustainable energy policies. The media has been persistently critical of corporations that prioritize profits over employee well-being, leading to greater calls for ethical business practices. Critics are persistently critical of standardized testing in education, asserting that it stifles creativity and fails to measure true intellectual capability. 10. Persistently problematic. An issue that continues to cause difficulties or challenges over time, often resisting efforts to resolve it. Traffic congestion in major cities remains persistently problematic, despite extensive government initiatives aimed at improving public transport and infrastructure. The disparity in access to quality education between urban and rural areas is persistently problematic, hindering social mobility and economic development. The excessive reliance on fossil fuels remains persistently problematic, as nations struggle to implement viable renewable energy solutions without disrupting economic stability. 11. Fiercely opposed. A topic or issue that faces strong resistance or objection, often due to ethical, political, or social concerns. The expansion of surveillance programs by governments is fiercely opposed by civil rights groups, who argue that such measures infringe upon fundamental privacy rights. The introduction of genetically modified foods has been fiercely opposed by environmental activists, citing potential long-term health and ecological risks. The privatization of essential healthcare services is fiercely opposed by many, as it could lead to unequal access and increased financial burdens on the disadvantaged. 12. Tentatively agreed. A situation where an agreement has been reached but remains subject to further discussion, modification, or approval. The trade deal between the two nations was tentatively agreed upon, pending further negotiations on tariffs and regulatory compliance. The government tentatively agreed to allocate additional funding for public health care, though the final decision depends on parliamentary approval. The new climate accord was tentatively agreed upon by world leaders, but key environmental groups continue to push for more stringent commitments. 13. Categorically denied. A strong and absolute rejection of a claim or accusation, leaving no room for doubt or reconsideration. The government categorically denied allegations of election fraud, insisting that the voting process was conducted transparently and fairly. The CEO categorically denied any involvement in the financial misconduct scandal, stating that the company had always adhered to ethical business practices. The Research Institute categorically denied claims that its findings were manipulated, emphasizing the rigorous peer review process that ensured scientific integrity. 14. Strongly opposed. A stance characterized by firm resistance or rejection, often based on ethical, political, or social concerns. Many environmental activists are strongly opposed to deforestation, arguing that it accelerates climate change and threatens biodiversity. The proposal to increase university tuition fees has been strongly opposed by student unions, who claim it would limit access to higher education for underprivileged groups. The use of artificial intelligence in employment selection processes is strongly opposed by critics, citing concerns about bias and lack of human judgment in hiring decisions. 15. Widely contested. A topic or issue that is subject to significant debate or disagreement, often with strong arguments from multiple perspectives. The effectiveness of economic sanctions as a diplomatic tool is widely contested, with some arguing that they pressure governments while others claim they disproportionately harm civilians. The influence of social media on political opinions is widely contested, as researchers debate whether it fosters informed discussions or amplifies misinformation. The long-term impact of remote work on productivity remains widely contested, with studies presenting contrasting findings on efficiency and employee well-being. 16. Closely monitored. A situation or process that is carefully observed and tracked to ensure control, regulation, or compliance. The effects of climate change on global agricultural output are being closely monitored by scientists, as shifting weather patterns threaten food security. The implementation of artificial intelligence in hiring processes is closely monitored to prevent biases that could lead to unfair employment practices. The financial markets are closely monitored by regulators to detect irregularities and prevent economic crises that may arise from unchecked speculation. 1. Profoundly regrettable. Something that causes deep regret or sorrow. Extremely unfortunate. The government's failure to address climate change in a timely manner is profoundly regrettable, as it has led to irreversible environmental damage. It is profoundly regrettable that economic disparities continue to widen despite significant advancements in global trade and technological innovation. The neglect of public health policies during the pandemic was profoundly regrettable, resulting in preventable loss of lives and prolonged economic instability. 2. Painfully apparent. Something that is extremely obvious or clear, often in a negative or undesirable way. It is painfully apparent that the lack of stringent environmental regulations has led to severe climate crises worldwide. The widening gap between the wealthy and the underprivileged is painfully apparent as social inequality continues to escalate despite economic growth. The failure of policymakers to implement effective educational reforms is painfully apparent, reflected in declining literacy rates and poor academic performance. 3. Profoundly unsettling. Something that causes deep discomfort or distress. Extremely disturbing. The rapid advancement of artificial intelligence replacing human jobs is profoundly unsettling, as it raises ethical concerns about employment and economic stability. The degradation of natural ecosystems due to unchecked industrialization is profoundly unsettling, underscoring the urgent need for sustainable policies. The increasing spread of misinformation on social media is profoundly unsettling, as it threatens democratic discourse and informed decision-making. 4. Deeply controversial. Something that sparks intense debate or disagreement, often with strong opposing views. The use of artificial intelligence in education remains deeply controversial as it raises concerns about privacy, academic integrity, and the role of human teachers. The legalization of certain substances continues to be deeply controversial, with arguments centered around public health, individual freedom, and economic impact. The influence of social media algorithms on political opinions is deeply controversial, as they can amplify misinformation and create ideological echo chambers. 5. Deeply misunderstood. Something that is widely misinterpreted or inaccurately perceived. The role of artificial intelligence in modern workplaces is deeply misunderstood, with many fearing job displacement rather than recognizing its potential for enhancing productivity. The impact of globalization on cultural identity is deeply misunderstood, as it not only introduces homogenization but also fosters the exchange of diverse traditions. The necessity of strict environmental regulations is deeply misunderstood, as many perceive them as economic barriers rather than essential measures for long-term sustainability. 6. Profoundly mistaken. A serious and significant error in judgment or belief. The assumption that economic growth alone can eliminate poverty is profoundly mistaken, as it often exacerbates income inequality. Those who argue that climate change is a natural cycle and dismiss human influence are profoundly mistaken, ignoring overwhelming scientific evidence. The belief that technology will entirely replace human creativity is profoundly mistaken, as innovation is inherently driven by human intuition and experience. 7. Profoundly disruptive, causing significant change or disturbance. The widespread automation of jobs is profoundly disruptive, altering employment dynamics and forcing workers to acquire new skills. The increasing dependence on social media for news consumption is profoundly disruptive, reshaping public discourse and political engagement. The shift towards remote work has been profoundly disruptive, challenging traditional office culture while offering new opportunities for flexibility. 8. Overwhelmingly persuasive, extremely convincing or compelling. The argument that climate change mitigation must be prioritized over economic expansion is overwhelmingly persuasive, given the disastrous consequences of environmental neglect. The evidence supporting the need for universal health care is overwhelmingly persuasive, as it reduces societal inequalities and enhances public well-being. The case for investing in renewable energy is overwhelmingly persuasive, considering its long-term benefits in sustainability and economic growth. 9. Undoubtedly insightful, extremely perceptive, and offering deep understanding. The research on the impact of early childhood education is undoubtedly insightful, as it highlights long-term benefits for cognitive development. The experts' analysis of global economic trends was undoubtedly insightful, offering a fresh perspective on future challenges. The documentary provided an undoubtedly insightful view into the complexities of climate change and its socioeconomic consequences. 10. Utterly disappointed, extremely dissatisfied or let down. Many citizens were utterly disappointed by the government's failure to implement promised environmental policies. Students were utterly disappointed when the education system failed to adapt to modern learning techniques, limiting their academic growth. Consumers felt utterly disappointed when companies prioritized profit over ethical business practices, leading to widespread distrust. 11. Deeply affected, significantly influenced or emotionally impacted. The local communities were deeply affected by the devastating floods, which led to the displacement of thousands of residents. Many individuals were deeply affected by the sudden economic downturn, struggling with financial instability and job loss. The healthcare sector was deeply affected by the pandemic, exposing gaps in medical infrastructure and policy effectiveness. 12. Deeply ashamed, feeling an intense sense of guilt, embarrassment, or regret. Many corporations should feel deeply ashamed for their disregard of environmental sustainability in pursuit of profits. Governments that fail to protect vulnerable populations during crises ought to be deeply ashamed of their negligence. Society should be deeply ashamed of the continued existence of poverty despite the abundance of global resources. 13. Deeply concerned, extremely worried about a serious issue. Many experts are deeply concerned about the long-term consequences of deforestation on global biodiversity. Scientists remain deeply concerned about the rising levels of pollution, which pose significant risks to human health. Parents are deeply concerned about the excessive use of digital devices and its impact on children's cognitive development. 14. Deeply hurt, emotionally wounded, or greatly affected. Many individuals feel deeply hurt by the widening social inequalities that deny them access to essential resources. The victims of corporate fraud were deeply hurt, as their financial security was unjustly taken from them. The neglect of ethical journalism has left many deeply hurt, as misinformation continues to shape public opinion unfairly. 15. Deeply moved, profoundly touched, or emotionally affected. Many were deeply moved by the humanitarian efforts that provided relief to communities devastated by natural disasters. The sacrifices made by frontline workers during global crises were deeply moved, inspiring widespread admiration and gratitude. The documentary on climate change left audiences deeply moved, urging them to take immediate action towards sustainability. 16. Painfully shy, extremely timid, or socially anxious. Many students who are painfully shy struggle to express their ideas, limiting their participation in classroom discussions. Despite her talent in public speaking, she remained painfully shy, avoiding opportunities to showcase her skills. Being painfully shy can hinder professional growth, making it difficult to network and seize career advancements. 17. Painfully slow, frustratingly or excessively slow. The government's response to addressing environmental issues has been painfully slow, leading to irreversible damage. Progress in reducing income inequality has been painfully slow, despite years of policy interventions aimed at economic reform. The adoption of renewable energy sources remains painfully slow, delaying necessary actions to combat climate change. 18. Emotionally draining, causing significant mental exhaustion and distress. Long-term exposure to workplace stress can be emotionally draining, negatively impacting employees' mental health and productivity. The constant pressure of competitive education systems is emotionally draining, leaving students struggling with anxiety and burnout. Caring for a terminally ill family member can be emotionally draining, requiring immense resilience and emotional strength. 19. Bitterly resentful, feeling deep anger and dissatisfaction due to perceived unfairness. Many workers remain bitterly resentful toward corporations that prioritize profit over employee well-being, leading to widespread job dissatisfaction. Citizens are often bitterly resentful when governments fail to address systemic inequalities, creating social unrest and disillusionment. Small businesses have become bitterly resentful of economic policies that disproportionately favor large corporations, hindering fair competition. 20. Bitterly cold, extremely freezing and uncomfortable temperature. The bitterly cold weather in northern regions poses severe challenges for infrastructure and daily life. Homeless individuals suffer the most during bitterly cold winters, highlighting the urgent need for better social welfare programs. The lack of preparedness for bitterly cold conditions often leads to disruptions in transportation and essential services. 21. Bitterly disappointed, deeply dissatisfied due to unmet expectations. Many environmental activists were bitterly disappointed by the government's failure to implement effective climate policies. The students were bitterly disappointed when their university failed to provide adequate resources for academic research. Citizens remain bitterly disappointed with policymakers who prioritize corporate interests over public welfare. 22. Bitterly regret, feeling deep remorse or sorrow over past actions. Many nations bitterly regret neglecting early environmental warnings as they now face catastrophic consequences. Individuals who fail to plan their finances often bitterly regret their choices during retirement. Policymakers may bitterly regret ignoring the impact of social inequalities, which have led to widespread unrest. 1. Economically fragile, financially unstable or vulnerable, often due to external pressures such as poor governance, market volatility, or lack of infrastructure. Many developing nations remain economically fragile due to their heavy reliance on a single industry, making them susceptible to economic downturns. In times of global recession, even the most stable economies can become economically fragile, leading to widespread unemployment and financial insecurity. Governments must implement strategic policies to support economically fragile regions, fostering diversification and sustainable growth. 2. Economically unstable, experiencing financial uncertainty or volatility, often due to factors such as inflation, weak governance, or lack of investment. Nations with economically unstable conditions often struggle to attract foreign investment, hindering long-term growth prospects. The rapid depreciation of currency can render an economy economically unstable, leading to inflation and reduced purchasing power. Implementing sound fiscal policies is crucial for governments aiming to stabilize economically unstable regions and promote sustainable development. 3. Socially disruptive. Causing significant disturbance or instability in societal norms, often due to conflict, inequality, or technological change. The rise of automation has proven socially disruptive, displacing traditional jobs and requiring mass retraining programs. Protests against governmental policies can be socially disruptive, but they also serve as catalysts for necessary societal change. The unchecked spread of misinformation on social media is socially disruptive, leading to polarization and distrust among communities. 4. Socially progressive. Advocating for or implementing policies and attitudes that promote equality, inclusion, and societal improvements. Nations with socially progressive policies tend to have higher levels of happiness as they prioritize citizen welfare and inclusivity. Investing in education and healthcare are socially progressive strategies that contribute to long-term national prosperity. Many governments now focus on socially progressive initiatives, such as gender equality and environmental sustainability, to ensure a fairer society. 5. Socially transformative. Bringing about profound and lasting changes in societal structures, attitudes, or systems. Technological advancements have been socially transformative, reshaping communication, work environments, and social interactions. A socially transformative education system not only imparts knowledge but also fosters critical thinking and innovation in students. Grassroots movements play a socially transformative role by empowering marginalized communities and advocating for systemic change. 6. Politically influential. Having the power to shape or direct political decisions, policies, or opinions. Media outlets are often politically influential, shaping public perceptions and influencing electoral outcomes. A politically influential leader must possess both vision and pragmatism to address national challenges effectively. International organizations such as the United Nations remain politically influential in global peacekeeping and policymaking efforts. 1. Technologically groundbreaking. Describes innovations that introduce unprecedented advancements and radically change existing methods. The development of artificial intelligence has been technologically groundbreaking, reshaping industries across the globe. The invention of the Internet was a technologically groundbreaking moment that transformed communication and information sharing. Advances in renewable energy have been technologically groundbreaking, paving the way for a sustainable future. 2. Technologically transformative. Refers to innovations that bring profound, long-term changes to the way society operates. The integration of automation in manufacturing has been technologically transformative, enhancing efficiency and precision. The rise of cloud computing has been technologically transformative, redefining data storage and accessibility for businesses. The widespread adoption of smartphones has been technologically transformative, altering social interactions and work culture. 3. Technologically indispensable refers to technologies that have become essential in daily life and industries. The smartphone has become technologically indispensable, revolutionizing communication and access to information. In modern healthcare, advanced diagnostic tools are technologically indispensable, ensuring accurate and timely treatment. The widespread adoption of online learning platforms has made them technologically indispensable in education. 4. Technologically sophisticated describes highly advanced technologies with complex and refined functionalities. Artificial intelligence has evolved into a technologically sophisticated system capable of performing intricate tasks with precision. The latest medical equipment is technologically sophisticated, enabling doctors to diagnose and treat diseases more effectively. The development of quantum computing is a technologically sophisticated breakthrough, promising unparalleled processing power. 5. Technologically disruptive refers to innovations that radically change industries and existing systems, often challenging traditional methods. The rise of e-commerce platforms has been technologically disruptive, reshaping the retail industry and reducing the dominance of physical stores. Autonomous vehicles are expected to be technologically disruptive, transforming the transportation sector and reducing reliance on human drivers. The introduction of cryptocurrency has been technologically disruptive, challenging traditional financial institutions and reshaping global economies. 6. Technologically evolving refers to the continuous advancement and adaptation of technology over time. The field of artificial intelligence is technologically evolving, enabling machines to perform tasks once thought impossible. Renewable energy sources are technologically evolving, making them more efficient and accessible for global sustainability. The transportation industry is technologically evolving with the rise of electric and autonomous vehicles, reshaping mobility. 7. Scientifically advanced describes innovations or discoveries that demonstrate superior scientific progress. Gene editing technologies like CRISPR are scientifically advanced, allowing precise modifications in DNA to treat genetic disorders. The scientifically advanced methodologies in space exploration have enabled humanity to explore distant planets and galaxies. Medical research has become scientifically advanced, leading to groundbreaking treatments for previously incurable diseases. 8. Scientifically endorsed refers to theories, methods, or technologies that have been validated and supported by the scientific community. The effectiveness of vaccines is scientifically endorsed, playing a crucial role in preventing the spread of infectious diseases. Climate change mitigation strategies are scientifically endorsed, urging governments and industries to take decisive action. The benefits of a balanced diet and regular exercise are scientifically endorsed, promoting overall health and well-being. 9. Scientifically credible refers to information or findings that are supported by rigorous scientific research and methodology. The theory of climate change is scientifically credible, backed by decades of extensive research and empirical evidence. Only scientifically credible studies should be considered when making important healthcare policies to ensure public safety. The effectiveness of space exploration missions is scientifically credible, supported by advanced technological and astronomical studies. 10. Statistically verified Describes data or findings that have been confirmed using statistical analysis and methodologies. The relationship between smoking and lung cancer has been statistically verified through decades of extensive research. The benefits of early childhood education have been statistically verified, demonstrating improved cognitive development in children. The connection between physical activity and mental well-being has been statistically verified by numerous large-scale studies. 11. Statistically relevant. Refers to data that is significant within a study or analysis, contributing meaningfully to the results. In economic research, inflation rates are statistically relevant as they directly impact consumer purchasing power. When analyzing job market trends, the unemployment rate remains statistically relevant in predicting economic stability. The impact of climate change on agriculture is statistically relevant, as temperature shifts affect crop yields worldwide. 12. Statistically misleading. Describes data or claims that distort the truth by using incorrect or deceptive statistical methods. Advertisements often use statistically misleading figures to exaggerate the effectiveness of products. Political campaigns sometimes rely on statistically misleading polls that manipulate sampling biases to shape public opinion. The interpretation of scientific studies can be statistically misleading if data is taken out of context or manipulated for specific agendas. 1. Historically relevant. Something that holds significance or importance in history and is still applicable or influential today. The policy changes introduced during the Industrial Revolution remain historically relevant as they continue to shape modern labor laws. The concept of democracy, originating in ancient Greece, is historically relevant, influencing governance worldwide. The environmental consequences of the Industrial Revolution remain historically relevant, guiding current sustainability efforts. 2. Historically significant. Something that has had a major impact on history and has influenced future developments. The abolition of slavery remains historically significant, shaping modern human rights movements worldwide. The signing of the Treaty of Versailles was historically significant as it laid the groundwork for geopolitical shifts in the 20th century. The invention of the printing press was historically significant, revolutionizing education and communication across centuries. 3. Historically profound. Something that has had a deep and lasting impact on history, shaping the course of human events significantly. The Renaissance was historically profound, as it ignited a cultural and intellectual awakening that continues to influence art and science today. The invention of the Internet is historically profound, revolutionizing communication, commerce, and knowledge sharing across the globe. The fall of the Berlin Wall was a historically profound moment, marking the end of Cold War tensions and the reunification of Germany. 4. Historically justified. Actions or decisions that are deemed reasonable or acceptable based on historical events or context. The government's intervention in the economy during the Great Depression was historically justified, as it prevented widespread financial collapse. The civil rights movement was historically justified, as it sought to rectify centuries of systemic discrimination. The implementation of environmental regulations is historically justified given the long-term damage caused by industrialization. 5. Historically reputable. Something or someone recognized as trustworthy, credible, or highly regarded based on historical actions or achievements. The university remains historically reputable for its groundbreaking research contributions and esteemed faculty. Certain political leaders are historically reputable for their role in advancing social justice and economic stability. The healthcare system in some nations is historically reputable due to its pioneering medical advancements and consistent excellence. 6. Historically accurate. Something that is factually correct based on historical evidence and records. The historian ensured that every detail in the documentary was historically accurate by referencing primary sources. The novel, though fictional, remained historically accurate in its portrayal of 19th century social customs and traditions. To foster a genuine understanding of the past, school textbooks must be historically accurate and free from political bias. 7. Historically disputed. Something that is debated or contested due to differing interpretations of historical events or evidence. The origins of ancient civilizations, such as the Indus Valley, remain historically disputed due to conflicting archaeological findings. The causes of World War I are historically disputed, as historians debate whether imperialism or alliances played the dominant role. The authenticity of certain historical texts is historically disputed, with scholars questioning their accuracy and origins. 8. Culturally enriching. Something that enhances understanding, appreciation, or experience of different cultures, traditions, or perspectives. Traveling to diverse countries can be culturally enriching, as it exposes individuals to unique customs and traditions. Learning a second language is culturally enriching, as it fosters deeper connections with people from different backgrounds. Exposure to international films and literature is culturally enriching, broadening one's worldview and fostering empathy towards different societies. 9. Culturally relevant. Something that holds significance within a specific culture and remains applicable or influential in modern society. Incorporating culturally relevant materials in education ensures that students feel represented and engaged in their learning. Traditional festivals remain culturally relevant as they help preserve historical customs and reinforce community identity. The adaptation of classic literature into films and plays keeps them culturally relevant for contemporary audiences. 10. Culturally meaningful. Something that holds deep significance within a culture, enhancing identity, tradition, or social connection. Preserving indigenous languages is culturally meaningful as it safeguards the heritage and traditions of native communities. Participating in traditional ceremonies is culturally meaningful as it fosters a sense of belonging and continuity across generations. Art and literature often serve as culturally meaningful expressions, reflecting the values and narratives of a society. 11. Culturally vibrant. Something that is full of dynamic cultural expression, diversity, and artistic or traditional richness. Cities like Tokyo and Paris are culturally vibrant, offering a mix of historical heritage and modern artistic innovation. A culturally vibrant community fosters inclusivity by celebrating diverse customs, traditions, and languages. The preservation of indigenous art and folklore ensures that societies remain culturally vibrant and deeply connected to their roots. 12. Globally respected. something or someone widely acknowledged and admired across nations for excellence, influence, or integrity. The Nobel Prize is a globally respected award, recognizing outstanding contributions in various fields. The university's research programs are globally respected, attracting scholars from diverse backgrounds. His diplomatic approach to international conflicts made him a globally respected leader. 13. Globally advantageous. Something that provides benefits on an international scale, improving economic, social, or environmental conditions. Implementing renewable energy policies is globally advantageous, reducing carbon emissions while ensuring sustainable development. Free trade agreements are globally advantageous, fostering economic growth and strengthening international cooperation. Advancements in medical research are globally advantageous, contributing to improved healthcare systems worldwide. 14. Globally influential. Something or someone that has a significant impact on international affairs, policies, culture, or advancements. The United Nations remains a globally influential organization, shaping international policies and humanitarian efforts. Technological innovations by leading companies have been globally influential, transforming communication and business operations. Scientific breakthroughs in climate research are globally influential, guiding nations towards sustainable policies. 15. Globally impactful. Something that has a profound effect or influence on a global scale, shaping policies, industries, or societal advancements. The development of the Internet has been globally impactful, revolutionizing communication, commerce, and education worldwide. Climate change policies must be globally impactful to ensure environmental sustainability for future generations. Breakthroughs in medical research, such as vaccines, have been globally impactful in eradicating diseases and improving public health. 1. Fundamentally unstable. Lacking a solid foundation or structure, prone to change or collapse. The global economy remains fundamentally unstable, with frequent financial crises and market volatility. A society built on extreme social inequality is often fundamentally unstable, leading to widespread unrest and dissatisfaction. Without sustainable policies, environmental protection efforts will remain fundamentally unstable, causing long-term damage to ecosystems. 2. Fundamentally indispensable. Absolutely essential at a foundational level, crucial for existence or function. Quality education is fundamentally indispensable for fostering economic growth and social stability in any nation. In an increasingly digital world, cybersecurity has become fundamentally indispensable to protect sensitive personal and financial information. Sustainable energy sources are fundamentally indispensable for mitigating climate change and ensuring a cleaner future for upcoming generations. 3. Fundamentally flawed. Having deep or essential defects that make it unreliable, ineffective, or incorrect. The current healthcare system is fundamentally flawed, as it fails to provide affordable medical services to marginalized communities. Any policy that ignores climate science is fundamentally flawed, as it jeopardizes both the environment and future generations. The assumption that economic growth automatically leads to social equality is fundamentally flawed, as history has consistently proven otherwise. 4. Fundamentally mistaken. having a deeply incorrect or flawed understanding of a concept or situation. The belief that technological advancement alone can solve global poverty is fundamentally mistaken, as socioeconomic factors play an equally crucial role. Assuming that economic growth automatically leads to environmental sustainability is fundamentally mistaken, given the extensive ecological damage caused by industrialization. The argument that climate change is not influenced by human activities is fundamentally mistaken, as overwhelming scientific evidence proves otherwise. 5. Structurally unstable. Lacking a solid or reliable physical framework, making it prone to failure or collapse. Many historical buildings are structurally unstable due to years of neglect and inadequate maintenance, posing serious risks to public safety. The increasing frequency of extreme weather events has exposed how structurally unstable much of the global infrastructure truly is. Without stringent regulations, poorly designed skyscrapers can become structurally unstable, endangering both occupants and surrounding areas. 6. Structurally reinforced. Strengthened or made more durable through architectural or design improvements. Modern skyscrapers are structurally reinforced with advanced materials to withstand earthquakes and extreme weather conditions. Public infrastructure must be structurally reinforced to ensure safety and longevity, especially in regions prone to natural disasters. In sustainable architecture, buildings are often structurally reinforced using eco-friendly materials that improve durability while reducing environmental impact. 7. Structurally optimized. Improved or refined and designed to enhance performance, efficiency, and durability. Modern urban infrastructure must be structurally optimized to accommodate growing populations while maintaining sustainability. High-speed trains are structurally optimized to minimize aerodynamic drag and maximize energy efficiency. To reduce environmental impact, future buildings should be structurally optimized with lightweight, recyclable materials and energy-efficient designs. 8. Structurally critical. Essential to the integrity, stability, or functionality of a system or structure. Bridges and tunnels are structurally critical components of urban infrastructure, requiring regular maintenance to prevent catastrophic failures. In modern architecture, the use of earthquake-resistant materials is structurally critical to ensure the safety of high-rise buildings. Efficient transportation networks are structurally critical for economic development, as they facilitate trade and mobility on a large scale. 9. Critically flawed. Containing major defects or errors that significantly impact reliability, functionality, or validity. The assumption that artificial intelligence will completely replace human creativity is critically flawed, as AI lacks emotional depth and unique personal experiences. Any economic model that neglects wealth distribution is critically flawed, as it fails to address the growing disparity between social classes. Policies that prioritize industrial expansion without environmental regulations are critically flawed, leading to irreversible damage to ecosystems. 10. Critically undervalued. Extremely underestimated or not given the importance it truly deserves. Investment in mental health services remains critically undervalued, despite its proven impact on overall societal well-being. The role of educators in shaping future generations is critically undervalued, leading to inadequate funding and support for the teaching profession. Renewable energy technologies are still critically undervalued. even though they offer sustainable solutions to the global energy crisis. 11. Critically neglected. Severely overlooked or ignored despite its essential importance. Public health care in many developing nations remains critically neglected, leading to preventable diseases and high mortality rates. The preservation of indigenous cultures is critically neglected, despite their invaluable contributions to global heritage. Sustainable agricultural practices are critically neglected, risking long-term food insecurity and environmental degradation. 12. Systematically reviewed. Examined or assessed in a structured, methodical, and detailed manner. Scientific research must be systematically reviewed to ensure the accuracy and credibility of findings before publication. Educational policies should be systematically reviewed to identify gaps in student learning and improve teaching methodologies. Government regulations on environmental sustainability need to be systematically reviewed to adapt to evolving global challenges. 13. Systematically improved. Enhanced or refined in a structured and methodical way. Education systems must be systematically improved to ensure equal opportunities for students from all socioeconomic backgrounds. Public health care policies need to be systematically improved to provide efficient and affordable medical services. Urban transportation infrastructure has been systematically improved through technological innovations, reducing congestion and pollution. 14. Systematically revised. Re-examined and modified through a structured process to enhance accuracy and effectiveness. Government regulations should be systematically revised to adapt to changing environmental challenges and technological advancements. University curricula must be systematically revised to align with the evolving demands of the global job market. Economic policies are often systematically revised to maintain stability and address financial crises effectively. 15. Fundamentally flawed. Having deep or essential defects that make it unreliable, ineffective, or incorrect. The idea that economic growth alone eradicates poverty is fundamentally flawed, as it ignores disparities in wealth distribution. A legal system that fails to ensure equal justice for all citizens is fundamentally flawed, as it undermines the principles of fairness. Relying solely on fossil fuels for energy production is fundamentally flawed, given the long-term environmental consequences. 16. Fundamentally important. Absolutely essential at a foundational level, crucial for existence or proper functioning. Critical thinking skills are fundamentally important for students to navigate complex academic challenges effectively. Sustainable urban planning is fundamentally important to prevent overcrowding and ensure resource efficiency. Effective communication is fundamentally important for fostering strong interpersonal relationships in both personal and professional settings. 17. Fundamentally unstable. Lacking a solid foundation or structure, prone to change or collapse. The global financial system remains fundamentally unstable, making economies vulnerable to sudden downturns. A political system that fails to address corruption is fundamentally unstable, leading to long-term governance issues. Without effective regulations, housing markets can become fundamentally unstable, resulting in rapid price fluctuations. 18. Structurally sound. Well-built, stable, and designed to maintain integrity under stress. Engineers must ensure that bridges are structurally sound to withstand natural disasters and heavy traffic. A structurally sound legal framework is essential for maintaining justice and protecting individual rights. Buildings in earthquake-prone areas need to be structurally sound to prevent catastrophic failures. '19. Structurally weak, lacking strength or stability in its design, leading to potential failure. Aging infrastructure is often structurally weak, posing serious safety risks to residents and commuters. A company built on unsustainable business practices is structurally weak, making it vulnerable to economic downturns. Poorly designed flood barriers are structurally weak, leading to increased damage during severe storms. 20. Structurally critical, essential to the integrity, stability, or functionality of a system or structure. Transportation networks are structurally critical for economic growth, as they facilitate trade and mobility. In modern architecture, earthquake-resistant designs are structurally critical to ensure public safety. Bridges and tunnels are structurally critical components of urban infrastructure, requiring regular maintenance to prevent failures. 21. Critically flawed, containing major defects or errors that significantly impact reliability, functionality, or validity. The belief that economic growth alone ensures social equality is critically flawed, as it ignores systemic barriers to wealth distribution. Education systems that rely solely on standardized testing are critically flawed, as they fail to assess creativity and critical thinking skills. Policies disregarding climate change are critically flawed, given the overwhelming scientific evidence supporting human-induced environmental damage. 22. Critically endangered, at extreme risk of extinction due to severe population decline. Many species, including the Javan rhino, are critically endangered, primarily due to habitat destruction and poaching. The conservation of critically endangered animals requires immediate government intervention and global cooperation. Deforestation and climate change have left numerous ecosystems critically endangered, threatening biodiversity worldwide. 23. Critically acclaimed, widely praised by experts or critics for its high quality and excellence. The documentary was critically acclaimed for its compelling storytelling and in-depth analysis of social issues. Many literary masterpieces remain critically acclaimed, shaping intellectual discourse for generations. The film industry thrives on producing critically acclaimed movies that challenge societal norms and inspire audiences. 24. Systematically flawed, containing deep-seated errors due to fundamental issues in structure, method, or design. The current education system is systematically flawed as it prioritizes standardized testing over holistic learning approaches. Any policy that ignores long-term sustainability is systematically flawed, leading to economic instability and environmental damage. Healthcare accessibility remains systematically flawed, with marginalized communities facing significant barriers to medical services. 25. Systematically improved, enhanced through a structured, methodical, and step-by-step approach. Urban transport systems must be systematically improved to reduce congestion and promote environmental sustainability. Public health policies need to be systematically improved to address the growing demand for quality medical services. Technological advancements have systematically improved communication, making global interactions more seamless and efficient. 1. Remarkably adaptable. Exceptionally flexible and able to adjust to new conditions with ease. As globalization accelerates, the ability to be remarkably adaptable in diverse work environments has become a crucial skill. The education system must cultivate students who are remarkably adaptable to ensure they can thrive in an ever-changing job market. Human resilience is remarkably adaptable, enabling societies to rebuild swiftly after economic downturns or natural disasters. 2. Meticulously analyzed. Examined with extreme attention to detail and precision. The impacts of climate change must be meticulously analyzed to develop effective long-term mitigation strategies. Economic policies should be meticulously analyzed before implementation to avoid unintended negative consequences. The effectiveness of modern healthcare interventions has been meticulously analyzed, leading to more targeted and efficient treatments. 3. Meticulously examined. Studied or analyzed with extreme precision and attention to detail. Before implementing new economic policies, their long-term impacts must be meticulously examined to prevent unintended consequences. Scientific breakthroughs often emerge from meticulously examined data, ensuring accuracy and reliability in findings. The effectiveness of various educational approaches has been meticulously examined, leading to more adaptive learning environments. 4. Meticulously crafted. Created with extreme care, precision, and attention to detail. The government's latest policy on environmental sustainability was meticulously crafted to balance economic growth with ecological preservation. Award-winning novels are often meticulously crafted, ensuring every character and storyline contributes to a compelling narrative. Effective marketing strategies are meticulously crafted to resonate with target audiences and drive consumer engagement. 5. Exceptionally informative. Providing an extraordinary amount of useful, insightful, or relevant information. The recent documentary on climate change was exceptionally informative, offering both statistical analysis and potential solutions. An exceptionally informative report can guide policymakers toward more effective decisions in tackling social issues. Attending international conferences is an exceptionally informative experience, as it exposes professionals to cutting-edge innovations and global perspectives. 6. Exceptionally well-researched. Based on extensive, thorough, and detailed investigation. Academic papers that are exceptionally well-researched provide invaluable insights that shape the discourse in various disciplines. To combat misinformation, journalists must ensure their articles are exceptionally well-researched and factually accurate. The success of any legal argument depends on an exceptionally well-researched foundation that strengthens the case's credibility. 7. Exceptionally well-argued. Presented with outstanding logic, clarity, and strong supporting evidence. The essay was exceptionally well-argued, effectively demonstrating how renewable energy is both economically and environmentally viable. In the debate on globalization, some perspectives are exceptionally well-argued, using empirical data to validate claims about economic disparities. A policy proposal that is exceptionally well-argued stands a greater chance of being implemented, as it convincingly addresses potential challenges and solutions. 8. Indisputably necessary. Absolutely essential and cannot be debated or denied. In an era of rapid technological advancements, digital literacy is indisputably necessary for career success. Government investment in renewable energy sources is indisputably necessary to mitigate climate change and ensure sustainable development. Comprehensive healthcare systems are indisputably necessary to enhance public well-being and reduce preventable diseases. 9. Indisputably valuable, extremely beneficial, and of undeniable worth or importance. In the modern job market, soft skills such as communication and adaptability are indisputably valuable for career progression. Access to quality education is indisputably valuable in shaping the economic and social development of a nation. Technological advancements are indisputably valuable in streamlining medical procedures and improving patient outcomes. 10. Indisputably accurate, absolutely precise, correct, and free from any doubt or error. Scientific research must be indisputably accurate to ensure that policies based on it are both effective and reliable. Historical accounts should be indisputably accurate to preserve the integrity of recorded events and prevent misinformation. Data-driven decision-making relies on indisputably accurate statistics to optimize efficiency and achieve measurable success. 11. Overwhelmingly supportive, providing an extraordinary level of encouragement, assistance, or approval. Public opinion has been overwhelmingly supportive of initiatives aimed at reducing carbon emissions and promoting renewable energy. Governments should be overwhelmingly supportive of small businesses, as they are essential for economic growth and job creation. Educational institutions must be overwhelmingly supportive of students from underprivileged backgrounds to foster equal opportunities for success. 12. Undoubtedly transformative, having a profound and unquestionable impact that leads to significant change. The rise of artificial intelligence has been undoubtedly transformative, reshaping industries and altering traditional employment structures. Investing in early childhood education is undoubtedly transformative, as it enhances cognitive development and improves long-term social outcomes. Technological advancements in healthcare are undoubtedly transformative, enabling early disease detection and personalized treatment approaches. 13. Remarkably successful, exceptionally achieving or accomplishing something beyond expectations. The government's policy on renewable energy has been remarkably successful, significantly reducing carbon emissions while promoting economic growth. The implementation of digital learning methods has been remarkably successful in enhancing students' academic performance and engagement. The initiative to improve urban infrastructure proved remarkably successful, transforming cities into more efficient and sustainable living spaces. 14. Immensely beneficial, extremely advantageous or useful in a particular situation. Investing in early childhood education has proven immensely beneficial, leading to stronger cognitive development and better academic outcomes. The widespread adoption of electric vehicles has been immensely beneficial in reducing air pollution and dependence on fossil fuels. The availability of telemedicine services has been immensely beneficial for remote communities, ensuring timely medical assistance. 15. Highly influential, having a strong impact or shaping opinions, actions, or developments. The rise of social media platforms has been highly influential in shaping public opinion and driving global movements. Education is highly influential in determining an individual's career trajectory and overall societal progress. Government policies on environmental conservation have been highly influential in encouraging sustainable business practices. 16. Persuasively argued. Convincingly presented with logical reasoning and strong evidence. The notion that universal health care improves overall productivity has been persuasively argued by economists and policymakers alike. The benefits of remote work have been persuasively argued, leading many companies to adopt hybrid work models. The need for stringent environmental regulations has been persuasively argued by climate scientists to mitigate global warming. 17. Massively influential. Having an extremely strong impact on people, policies, or trends. The widespread adoption of artificial intelligence has been massively influential in transforming industries and labor markets. Renowned philosophers have been massively influential in shaping modern ethical perspectives and governance. The media has been massively influential in shaping public opinion on key social issues. 18. Massively successful. Extremely triumphant, achieving extraordinary results. The vaccination campaign was massively successful, drastically reducing the incidence of infectious diseases. The efforts to promote renewable energy have been massively successful, leading to substantial decreases in carbon emissions. The initiative to improve literacy rates among disadvantaged communities was massively successful in bridging educational gaps. 19. Substantially improved. Significantly enhanced or made better. The quality of urban transportation has been substantially improved through strategic infrastructure investments. Access to higher education has been substantially improved, enabling more students from diverse backgrounds to pursue academic success. Healthcare services have been substantially improved with advancements in medical technology and telemedicine. 20. Substantially revised. Considerably changed or modified for accuracy or improvement. The national education policy was substantially revised to incorporate a greater focus on digital learning and skill development. The taxation framework has been substantially revised to ensure a more equitable distribution of financial burdens. The guidelines for environmental conservation have been substantially revised to address emerging global challenges. 21. Exceptionally rare. Extremely uncommon or infrequent. Cases of complete recovery from certain terminal illnesses are exceptionally rare, but offer hope for medical breakthroughs. The discovery of new habitable planets remains exceptionally rare despite advancements in space exploration. Instances of absolute political neutrality among world leaders are exceptionally rare given the complexity of international relations. 22. Exceptionally well argued. Very convincingly presented with strong reasoning and evidence. The argument that universal health care reduces long-term economic burdens was exceptionally well argued in recent policy debates. The proposal to implement stricter environmental regulations was exceptionally well argued, persuading lawmakers to support immediate action. The academic paper on artificial intelligence ethics was exceptionally well argued, presenting a balanced view on technological progress and moral responsibility. 23. Strategically planned, carefully designed, or organized with long-term goals in mind. The city's public transportation system was strategically planned to enhance accessibility, and reduce congestion. The company's expansion into international markets was strategically planned, ensuring minimal risks and maximum profitability. The nation's education reform was strategically planned to equip students with future-ready skills and competencies. 24. Strategically advantageous, providing a significant long-term benefit or upper hand in a situation. Establishing trade partnerships with emerging economies is strategically advantageous for fostering global economic growth. The university's decision to invest heavily in research facilities was strategically advantageous, leading to groundbreaking discoveries. Relocating corporate headquarters to a tax-friendly jurisdiction proved strategically advantageous for long-term financial stability. 25. Strategically beneficial, offering well-planned and thoughtful advantages that improve outcomes. Implementing sustainable energy solutions is strategically beneficial for both environmental preservation and economic growth. The government's investment in digital infrastructure proved strategically beneficial, modernizing public services and enhancing accessibility. Adopting multilingual education is strategically beneficial in preparing students for a globally connected workforce. 26. Tactically advantageous, giving a short-term or immediate benefit in a competitive or strategic situation. The ability to swiftly adapt marketing strategies based on consumer behavior is tactically advantageous in maintaining brand relevance. Employing surprise maneuvers in negotiations can be tactically advantageous in securing favorable terms. In sports competitions, analyzing an opponent's weaknesses beforehand is tactically advantageous in ensuring victory. 27. Tactically effective, demonstrating strong and successful results in a specific tactical approach. The country's rapid response to economic crises has been tactically effective in stabilizing financial markets. Streamlining emergency response protocols proved tactically effective in minimizing casualties during natural disasters. The military's strategic deployment of resources was tactically effective in ensuring national security. One, severely restricted, extremely limited or controlled in scope, extent, or freedom. Due to government regulations, access to foreign investment was severely restricted, hindering economic growth. In many authoritarian regimes, citizens' ability to express dissent is severely restricted, resulting in widespread fear and suppression. The availability of clean drinking water is severely restricted in many developing regions, exacerbating health crises. 2. Severely underestimated, grossly misjudged, or undervalued in importance or impact. The long-term consequences of climate change have been severely underestimated, leading to inadequate global responses. The role of mental health in workplace productivity is severely underestimated, despite evidence proving its profound impact. The importance of digital literacy in modern education has been severely underestimated, leaving many students unprepared for technological advancements. 3. Severely depleted, extremely reduced in quantity or availability. Natural resources such as clean water and fossil fuels are severely depleted due to excessive consumption. The nation's healthcare workforce has been severely depleted, leading to a crisis in patient care. Agricultural land has been severely depleted by decades of unsustainable farming practices. 4. Increasingly polarized. Becoming more divided with opposing extreme viewpoints. Political debates have become increasingly polarized, making consensus difficult to achieve. Public opinion on climate change is increasingly polarized, with some advocating urgent action while others deny its impact. Socioeconomic disparities have led to an increasingly polarized society, where opportunities are unequally distributed. 5. Increasingly fragmented. Becoming more divided or broken into smaller, disconnected parts. The global economy is increasingly fragmented, with trade barriers reducing cooperation among nations. Modern social interactions are increasingly fragmented, as digital communication replaces face-to-face relationships. Education systems worldwide are increasingly fragmented, resulting in unequal learning opportunities for students. 6. Increasingly complex. Becoming more difficult or intricate over time. International trade regulations are increasingly complex, making it harder for businesses to expand globally. Climate change solutions are increasingly complex, requiring multifaceted policies and technological innovation. Managing urban infrastructure is increasingly complex as cities grow and demands for sustainability rise. POLYTICS. 7. Excessively bureaucratic. Involving too many rules, regulations, or administrative processes. Government policies are often excessively bureaucratic, slowing down essential decision-making processes. Many businesses struggle due to excessively bureaucratic procedures that hinder innovation. Immigration laws have become excessively bureaucratic, creating unnecessary obstacles for applicants. 8. Excessively complex. Unnecessarily complicated, making comprehension or implementation difficult. Tax legislation is excessively complex, preventing citizens from understanding their financial obligations. Healthcare systems in many countries are excessively complex, leading to inefficiency in service delivery. The legal framework for environmental protection is excessively complex, discouraging businesses from compliance. 9. Practically unfeasible. Nearly impossible to implement successfully. A completely paperless society is practically unfeasible due to the reliance on physical documentation. Universal free healthcare, while idealistic, is practically unfeasible without substantial funding. Eliminating all plastic waste from global markets is practically unfeasible, given current production rates. 10. Practically unattainable. Almost impossible to achieve. Universal free education remains practically unattainable, given the financial constraints of many nations. A fully sustainable global economy is practically unattainable without widespread policy shifts. The elimination of poverty is a noble goal but remains practically unattainable due to systemic inequalities. 11. Completely unjustifiable. Lacking any reasonable justification or rationale. The government's decision to cut funding for healthcare is completely unjustifiable, given the rising demand for medical services. The excessive use of plastic packaging in consumer goods is completely unjustifiable in an era of environmental awareness. The refusal to address gender disparities in employment is completely unjustifiable given the evidence of discrimination. 12. Strictly limited. Highly restricted in scope or quantity. Access to confidential governmental data is strictly limited to high-ranking officials. Financial aid for students is strictly limited, making higher education inaccessible for many. In many corporations, work-from-home privileges are strictly limited to senior employees. 13. Strictly forbidden, prohibited with no exceptions. The use of mobile phones in exam halls is strictly forbidden to prevent academic misconduct. Smoking in enclosed public spaces is strictly forbidden due to health concerns. In many cultures, the disclosure of private family matters to outsiders is strictly forbidden. 14. Unnecessarily complicated, more difficult than required. The tax filing process is unnecessarily complicated, discouraging compliance among citizens. Many legal documents are unnecessarily complicated, making them inaccessible to the average person. Government procedures for obtaining permits are unnecessarily complicated, delaying essential services. 15. Unnecessarily bureaucratic, overloaded with excessive administrative processes. Immigration procedures have become unnecessarily bureaucratic, deterring skilled professionals from relocating. The healthcare registration system is unnecessarily bureaucratic, causing delays in patient treatment. Grant applications for research funding are unnecessarily bureaucratic, hindering innovation. 16. Practically impossible, nearly impossible to accomplish. Achieving zero carbon emissions within a decade is practically impossible without revolutionary advancements. Ensuring complete global food security remains practically impossible due to geopolitical conflicts. Replacing all fossil fuels with renewable energy is practically impossible given current infrastructure limitations. 17. Practically unachievable, virtually impossible to realize or implement. Eradicating corruption from all sectors is practically unachievable, despite stringent policies. Completely eliminating traffic congestion from major cities is practically unachievable due to population density. Creating an economic system free from inequality is practically unachievable, given historical precedents. 18. Unquestionably vital, indisputably necessary or essential. Renewable energy investment is unquestionably vital for sustainable development. Early childhood education is unquestionably vital for cognitive and social development. Ensuring global access to healthcare is unquestionably vital for human well-being. 19. Undoubtedly superior, clearly better or more effective than alternatives. A plant-based diet is undoubtedly superior in terms of environmental sustainability. Countries with strong educational systems produce undoubtedly superior workforces. Hydropower is undoubtedly superior to fossil fuels in terms of long-term sustainability. 20. Indisputably effective, proven beyond doubt to work successfully. Strict gun control laws have been indisputably effective in reducing firearm-related crimes. Vaccination programs remain indisputably effective in preventing the spread of infectious diseases. Investment in early education has been indisputably effective in improving national literacy rates. 21. Indisputably accurate, beyond doubt in correctness and precision. Scientific data on climate change is indisputably accurate, supporting urgent global action. The results of DNA testing and forensic investigations are indisputably accurate, aiding judicial proceedings. Satellite-based weather forecasting is indisputably accurate, minimizing natural disaster risks. 22. Strategically optimized. Planned and refined for maximum efficiency. Urban transportation systems must be strategically optimized to reduce congestion and pollution. 23. Strategically essential. Critically important for achieving a planned goal. Investment in renewable energy is strategically essential for long-term environmental sustainability. 24. Strategically crucial. Extremely important for a successful strategy or outcome. Government intervention in economic crises is strategically crucial for maintaining stability. 25. Tactically executed. Carried out with precise planning and skill for a specific goal. The military operation was tactically executed, ensuring minimal casualties and maximum success. 26. Tactically effective. Successful in achieving a goal through well-planned actions. The use of social media campaigns has been tactically effective in raising awareness about climate change. 27. Tactically advantageous. Providing a benefit or edge in a specific plan or situation. Negotiating trade agreements with emerging markets is tactically advantageous for economic expansion. 28. Tactically superior. More effective or dominant in terms of planning and execution. Nations with advanced defense systems remain tactically superior in global security operations. 1. Utterly devastated. Completely destroyed emotionally or physically. Many families were utterly devastated by the economic crisis, struggling to rebuild their lives. 2. Highly controversial. Causing intense disagreement or debate. The government's decision to raise taxes on essential goods remains highly controversial among citizens. 3. Highly unusual. Extremely rare or unexpected. It is highly unusual for a country to experience such rapid economic growth without significant foreign investment. 4. Highly probable. Very likely to happen. Given the current economic trends, it is highly probable that inflation will continue to rise in the coming years. 5. Highly motivated. Extremely eager or determined to achieve something. Highly motivated employees tend to be more productive, leading to greater business success. 6. Totally unrealistic. Completely impractical or impossible. Expecting a nation to eliminate all forms of pollution within a few years is totally unrealistic, given industrial dependence on fossil fuels. 7. Completely exhausted. Extremely tired physically or mentally. After spending hours preparing for the examination, the students were completely exhausted but satisfied with their efforts. 8. Completely unprecedented. Never seen or experienced before. The rapid technological advancements in artificial intelligence are completely unprecedented, raising both excitement and ethical concerns. 9. Radically altered. Changed in a fundamental and extreme way. The education system has been radically altered due to the integration of digital learning platforms, making traditional classrooms less relevant. 10. Exponentially growing. Increasing at a rapid and accelerating rate. The demand for renewable energy is exponentially growing as nations seek sustainable solutions to combat climate change. 11. Increasingly problematic, becoming more difficult or concerning over time. The excessive reliance on fossil fuels is becoming increasingly problematic as the world faces severe environmental consequences. 12. Increasingly widespread, becoming more common or prevalent. The use of renewable energy sources is becoming increasingly widespread as nations seek sustainable solutions to climate change. 13. Profoundly impactful, having a deep and significant effect. Education reforms can be profoundly impactful in shaping future generations and addressing socioeconomic disparities. 14. Severely affected, greatly harmed or negatively impacted. Many small businesses were severely affected by the economic downturn, leading to widespread unemployment. 15. Undeniably necessary, absolutely essential or required. Stricter environmental regulations are undeniably necessary to mitigate the effects of climate change. 16. Absolutely inevitable, certain to happen, unavoidable. Given the increasing dependence on technology, automation in various industries is absolutely inevitable. 17. Entirely unjustified, completely lacking proper reasoning or fairness. The government's decision to cut funding for public education is entirely unjustified, given its importance in social development. 18. Overwhelmingly positive, extremely favorable or beneficial. The impact of technological advancements on healthcare has been overwhelmingly positive, leading to improved treatments and diagnoses. 19. Overwhelmingly convincing, extremely persuasive or hard to refute. The research presented in the latest climate change report is overwhelmingly convincing. 20. Undeniably harmful, clearly causing damage or negative effects. The excessive consumption of processed foods is undeniably harmful to long-term health, increasing the risk of chronic diseases. 21. Excessively restrictive, unreasonably limiting or controlling. The excessively restrictive immigration policies have raised concerns about human rights and international cooperation. 22. Deeply ingrained, firmly established, and difficult to change. Cultural traditions are often deeply ingrained, shaping societal values and behaviors over generations. 1. Legitimately elected, chosen through a fair and legal voting process. A legitimately elected leader serves as a cornerstone of a stable democracy, ensuring that citizens' voices are accurately represented. 2. Politically motivated, driven by political interest rather than genuine concerns. Many legislative decisions appear politically motivated, often prioritizing party loyalty over public needs. 3. Politically unstable, experiencing frequent governmental changes or conflicts. A politically unstable nation struggles to maintain economic growth as investors hesitate due to unpredictable policies. 4. Socially responsible, acting in ways that benefit society as a whole. Corporations must be socially responsible by ensuring fair wages, ethical practices, and environmental sustainability. 5. Socially beneficial, leading to positive outcomes for society as a whole. Implementing free healthcare programs is socially beneficial as it ensures medical care for the underprivileged. 6. Economically sustainable. Maintaining financial stability over the long term without harming resources. The shift to renewable energy is economically sustainable as it reduces dependency on fossil fuels while fostering long-term job creation. 7. Economically viable. Capable of generating sufficient financial returns to continue functioning effectively. Large-scale infrastructure projects must be economically viable to justify their long-term investment and maintenance costs. 8. Economically disadvantaged. Lacking financial resources or opportunities compared to others. Governments must implement targeted policies to uplift economically disadvantaged communities and reduce systemic inequality. 9. Economically fragile. Prone to financial instability or downturns due to external factors. Small businesses in developing nations remain economically fragile due to fluctuating market conditions and limited financial backing. 10. Commercially viable. Capable of generating sufficient profit to sustain itself in the market. Investing in renewable energy has become commercially viable as technological advancements drive down production costs. 11. Morally indefensible. Impossible to justify from an ethical standpoint. The exploitation of vulnerable workers in sweatshops is morally indefensible as it disregards basic human rights. 12. Morally unacceptable. Violates commonly accepted ethical standards. Discrimination based on race or gender is morally unacceptable as it contradicts the principles of equality and justice. 13. Ethically questionable. Raising concerns regarding fairness, honesty, or integrity. The use of AI to manipulate public opinion in elections is ethically questionable as it blurs the line between influence and deception. 14. Ethically sound. Conforming to ethical principles and integrity. A company that prioritizes fair wages, sustainability, and transparency can be considered ethically sound in its business practices. 15. Legally binding. Enforceable by law, requiring compliance. A contract between two parties must be legally binding to ensure that obligations are met. 16. Legally obligated. Required by law to act in a certain way. Employers are legally obligated to provide safe working conditions for their employees. 17. Legally questionable. Possibly in violation of the law or open to legal challenge. The company's practice of collecting user data without explicit consent is legally questionable. 18. Legally enforceable. Can be upheld and imposed through legal action. A court ruling must be legally enforceable to ensure compliance by the involved parties. 1. Scientifically proven. Supported by extensive scientific evidence. Numerous studies have scientifically proven the correlation between air pollution and respiratory diseases. 2. Scientifically validated. Confirmed by rigorous scientific testing. The claim that organic food is healthier has been scientifically validated by nutritional experts. 3. Scientifically groundbreaking. Revolutionary in scientific research. The discovery of gravitational waves was a scientifically groundbreaking moment in astrophysics. 4. Technologically advanced. Incorporating the latest technology. Modern electric vehicles are technologically advanced, reducing carbon emissions significantly. 5. Technologically indispensable. Essential for modern technological functionality. Internet access has become technologically indispensable for education and business worldwide. 6. Technologically dependent. Reliant on technology for functioning. Society has become increasingly technologically dependent, making digital literacy a necessity. 7. Technologically superior. More advanced than other technologies. The latest AI-powered devices are technologically superior to traditional manual systems. 8. Extensively researched. Studied in great depth with thorough analysis. Climate change is an extensively researched phenomenon with overwhelming scientific consensus. 9. Rigorously tested. Subjected to intense trials for accuracy and reliability. The new drug was rigorously tested to ensure its safety before public release. 10. Critically overlooked. Ignored despite its importance. The long-term mental health effects of social media are critically overlooked by policymakers. 1. Geographically widespread. Present across a large area or region. Due to globalization, multinational corporations are now geographically widespread, influencing economies worldwide. 2. Geographically isolated. Located far from other places or people. Some indigenous communities remain geographically isolated, preserving their unique traditions and cultures. 3. Environmentally damaging. Harmful to the natural world or ecosystems. The excessive production of plastic waste is environmentally damaging and leads to severe ocean pollution. 4. Culturally diverse. Comprising multiple cultural backgrounds. Urban centers tend to be culturally diverse, fostering innovation through a mix of traditions and perspectives. 5. Culturally significant. Important in relation to traditions or heritage. The preservation of historically important landmarks is crucial because they are culturally significant symbols of identity. 6. 1. Scientifically proven. Supported by extensive scientific evidence. Numerous studies have scientifically proven the correlation between air pollution and respiratory diseases. 2. Scientifically validated. Confirmed by rigorous scientific testing. The claim that organic food is healthier has been scientifically validated by nutritional experts. 3. Scientifically groundbreaking. Revolutionary in scientific research. The discovery of gravitational waves was a scientifically groundbreaking moment in astrophysics. 4. Technologically advanced. Incorporating the latest technology. Modern electric vehicles are technologically advanced, reducing carbon emissions significantly. 5. Technologically indispensable. Essential for modern technological functionality. Internet access has become technologically indispensable for education and business worldwide. 6. Technologically dependent. reliant on technology for functioning. Society has become increasingly technologically dependent, making digital literacy a necessity.